What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another week of the Rostock Racers YouTube channel, Top 10 Wrecks of the Week. Thank you guys for tuning in here once again. Some of you may know the process by now, but we're going to go ahead and explain how we do it around here on our Top 10 Wrecks of the Week. We're going to start off with our honorable mentions of the week. At my honorable mention this week, we're going to have AJ Japan's wreck, where he gets spun off of turn 4, shoots down into the inside wall, gets hit again, tumbles over top, goes through a prop on the infield, gets trapped, no way to get out. He would have had to leave this race or get shot back over the wall again.
My honorable mention for this week is Joey Gase at Talladega on the white line. Joey Gase, he gets into it with the 24 in the tri-oval, and you saw the 41 here. He hits the 51 to cause him to go up and over at the white line, but it's the final lap, so we can't see anything more after the flip, so that's why it's my honorable mention.
At my number 10 for this week, I have William Byron, looking like a bouncy ball out there on the track. Gets turned, well, he really turns himself here and just bounces off that outside wall, almost like a glitch, shoots all the way down to the inside of the track, and Busher gets a front row seat for this crash. Terrible for William Byron, great for our list this week. Will come in at my number 10.
My number 10 this week is Kyle Larson at North Wilkesboro. In the final corner, Larson and 3 other drivers go full wide coming out of 4. All 3 move to the right and bump Larson into the wall. Larson goes on his side and is on upside down alert. But I mean, it's just not enough. He didn't really do much more than the Joey Gase flip at Dega, so he's my number 10 for this week.
Coming in at my number 9 is William Byron at the road course. Takes the corner way too short. Gets into the real bumpy patch and shoots right up into the air. Ends up flying and hitting another car on his way back down to earth. Slams off the wall, gets it back going, continues the race. Just an awful crash here for William Byron.
My number 9 for this week is, again, Joey Gase at Talladega, this time on lap number 1. Gase moves the 34 up the track, the 99 is in front of him, the 24, they all pile up. They get into a massive crash. Joey Gase is on his side, and then he goes up and over and hits back, and he gets a bump back onto his roof by the ground. It was a crazy madness on that lap there, and I mean, it was really hectic, so that's why he's my number 9 for this week.
Coming in at my number 8 for this week, I have the 2-car crash. Just terrible. Both of them start going flipping, and they really just don't stop. Just a long flipping session there for both of those cars. Front row seats for multiple cars in this one to watch this horrific wreck unfold. It'll end up here at my number 8 for this week.
My number 8 this week is Todd Gilliland at Indianapolis Motor Speedway during an elimination race. Coming down to the final seconds here, Cindric goes down to the pit lane road, comes back up, hits the 7, and the 7 and the 2 pinch the 34. He hits the wall, does a barrel roll, and then finally lands back on his wheels and eventually gets eliminated in that race with a great flip. But I think there's still a lot more better flips than that. That's why he's my number 8 this week.
Coming in at my number 7 crash for this week, I have the number 94 white off car again at FC Speedway. A great wreck-causing track. You can just see the 94 in this one just get turned, going into the corner, couldn't make it stick, ends up the track. The 5-car drives right up underneath them, and the 94 rolls not once but twice before getting it back on the wheels and just keeps it going on FC. But just a terrible wreck for the 94 will end up at my number 7 crash for this week.
My number 7 crash this week is Joe's cell phone at FC Speedway. You see the 20 gets on his outside here. The 87 goes for a block. The 20 gets a right rear hook underneath him, and he goes up and over, but he lands back on all 4 wheels. And I mean, you can also see that there are 2 cars in front of him doing it out. It's still a pretty good wreck, so he's my number 7 for this week.
Coming in at my number 6 for this week is the first for this man, but it surely will not be the last. I have the 34 of Todd Gilliland getting absolutely demolished. He goes spinning and spinning and spinning upside down. Could never get the car under control in this one. Just a horrible wreck for Todd Gilliland, and like I said, it will not be the last time you see Todd Gilliland on my list for this week.
My number 6 for this week is the 10 car at Talladega. Here he is on the outside of what looks like the 98 from here. The 98 throws a block on him, hits the wall, comes back down the track, hits the 2, and then he just got some air underneath him. He keeps going, but then he hits a bump in the road, which gets him back on his wheels. And I feel like if he would have done a little bit more, even like a barrel roll or something, would have been higher up on my list, but he's my number 6 for this week.
Coming in at my number 5 for this week is going to be the madness that ensued for Bubba Wallace. Out here on the back straightaway, he gets loose. You can see him start losing it. Gets into the corner, gathers it back up, and thinks he's good to go. And then just hits a bump and just goes up, over, and spins multiple times midair. Hits the 5 and hits multiple other cars in the midst of this horrible crash for the 23 car. Just awful here at Homestead. You never think you would see something like this happen. Just a bump and up and over he goes. The 18 gets into him as well, spinning multiple more times after he gets it back onto his wheels before eventually getting it back going. So he'll come in at my number 5 for this week.
My number 5 for this week is Joey Logano and William Byron Binland on lap number 1 here in turn 3. Byron goes into the grass, comes back up, throws a block on Logano. Another Byron comes up. He gets thrown into the wall by Logano, and he just does a barrel roll. Really comparable to the Joe cell phone barrel roll at FC Speedway. He's my number 5 for this week.
Coming in at my number 4 for this week is one of the most talked about ones between us this week. It is the Dover Drama. A car you would never expect to see go upside down, but just when some people put it 4 wide at a track that it should not be 4 wide, some crazy things can ensue here as you see the 98 go into the wall, get pinched, and he shoots backwards. And then as the camera turns back around, the 14 is also upside down, just in front, sliding down the banking on his roof. 2 cars go upside down at Dover, something you would likely never see happen. But in this one, it does occur, and it was surely a good one to make our top 4 for this week.
My number 4 is something that my partner here has already mentioned, the Bubba Wallace at Homestead, Miami. You can see here Bubba taps the 5 car, and then randomly out of nowhere, it is just a pop in the road. And I mean, you can see here, like, he hits the road, but, like, there seems to be, like, no evidence of what he hit. But, I mean, the aftermath, holy goodness, it was a good aftermath, folks. I gotta tell you what, the 3 above him are just better, but he's my number 4 for this week.
Coming in at my number 3 for this week, you can welcome him back to our list, Todd Gilliland, once again at Talladega. This one is going to be the blow over down there on the inside. He turns all the way down the track, blows it right up over the top, and starts rolling with another car he took down there. An amazing view of this crash. And then at the end, The 41 shooting way back up across the track and slamming into the outside wall at full speed. Just a huge crash there on the entrance to the Tri-Oval at Talladega is going to give Todd Gilliland a top 3 spot on my list for this week.
My number 3 for this week is also Todd Gilliland at Talladega. You can see here in front of us, he goes way down to the bottom, tries to come back up the track, but the 24 hits him into the car behind him. The 34 is on top of the car there, and then he gets some air from the grass, some smoke there, and then he just does a barrel roll, and I mean, it was just a hectic spin for Todd Gilliland, but he's my number 3 for this week.
And coming in at my number 2 for this week, here he is again, the wreck that my partner just mentioned. Gilliland getting up on top of another car, sliding down the track, catching air in the grass, and going right up over the top, spinning, flipping all over the place for Todd Gilliland. Just an absolute horrific race for that 34 car this week. Could not escape any of the big ones at Talladega, but he comes in and makes our list 3 times on my list for this week, giving us great wrecks to watch this week. Todd Gilliland again at my number 2.
My number 2 for this week, my partner already mentioned, is the AG Japan in the elimination race at LMBO Speedway. You can see here he goes down to the bottom with the 24, and he hits just, again, something magical that we can't really see. And I mean, he gets stuck on the inside grass, nowhere to go, either leave or get kicked like my partner mentioned earlier. It's my number 2 for this week.
Coming in at my number 1 for this week, a dumb flip here is going to be Daniel Suarez in that same Talladega race. The 41 and the 24 you can see are at the beginning running all the way down to the bottom. You can see the 51 getting on the outside of the 99. He gets turned, catches air up over, barrel rolls 3 times, back down, up, front, over, back, and then finally getting it back on the wheels. Daniel Suarez just encounters an awful crash on the entrance to turn 1 at Talladega, but giving us our number 1 flip of the week for me.
Wow, partner, I really don't know what else to say. I got the same thing as you. I mean, just a dumb crash here. The 51 gets on underneath them, and I mean, the 99 just goes up and over, barrel rolls, and finally gets it back on all 4 wheels. I don't really have much else to say. You summarized it up for us, partner. Again, we both had the same number 1s for this week.
And with that, I want to give a congratulations to our winner for this week, Finn and Dava 28, driving that 99 car, getting up in that air. Congratulations to him for our ginormous number 1 wreck of the week for this week. In week 2, our wrecks from August 24th until August 30th when this video goes live. Now, on the other hand, we want to talk about the news about Rostock Racing. As we have heard of late, Rostock Racing will be getting a new revamp coming this September. If at any point the game goes down, we will do our best to get out a top wrecks of the week video, as many wrecks as we can every week. As soon as we run out of clips, we won't be able to do that anymore, but we will keep our daily wrecks of the day going on shorts for everybody to see on a daily basis, and we'll keep pushing out content until the game comes back after the revamp, and we can get some more incredible wrecks for you before the end of this year. So thank you guys for watching this video on the Rostock Racers channel, and we hope to see you guys back next week for week 3 of our top wrecks of the week.